Waiguru Khalsa, Waiguru Ji. Hi, welcome to Late Night Banter with me, Del Singh. And my guest today is Dr. Karandeep Singh, who is genius at data analytics. I'm going to have him actually blushing at this part. My guests never like this bit. And also the writer-director of the forthcoming movie Motherhood, which is the story of Mata Sabgorji. So, firstly, welcome.
Thank you, Del.
Good to see you. Thank you very much for giving me your time today. I'm glad you dressed up. Obviously, I dressed down, so it's pretty good. All my guests put me to shame with the way they sort of turn up at the show, and I turn up in rags. But there you go. That's that. Karandeep, listen, thank you very much. Appreciate your time today. I know you're really busy, so we're going to get to it. Now, your background. I'm going to talk about the movie in a bit. But I'll talk about your background. You obviously were born in India,
yep,
in Delhi, and that's Delhi, by the way, as a translation for anybody that doesn't understand Delhi. And your schooling and your formative years were all in India.
All in India.
I think it's fair to say you were a bit of a numbers nerd because you really like maths and numbers. Mathematics.
Yeah.
Okay. And so tell me, what started your love of maths? Because I hated that stuff. So go on, what did you like about maths and numbers?
I think it was a bit natural, coming from the religious background in the family, and then more strong-headed in terms of the education and stuff. Usually, students from a middle-class family, they do struggle a lot in India with the population and the level of education they have over there. And since beginning, I was aware that we have to do a lot of hard work to actually get out and make an impact.
Yeah.
And that was a challenge for most of the students out there. But then love for maths actually developed from Gurbani itself.
Oh, okay.
I still remember when I was, I think, 2 or 3, or in class 2nd or 3rd, year 2, year 3.
Yeah.
And mom was mentioning about angs of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, so pages of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And I just thought, what made Guruji think about having 1430 pages of Guru Granth Sahib Ji? So I started doing some numbers, some games. So I started counting 1430, so 1430.
Now let me just, that's an interesting point you make there, because religious scripture, you'll find a lot of, so for example, the Guru Granth Sahib, which is the Sikh holy scriptures, and Karandeep referred to the Ang, because we see the Guru Granth Sahib as a living entity rather than pages. But for those that see it as pages, it does have numbers, it's numeric. But again, I suppose, texts like the Bible have chapters, verses, numbers as well. So I think so your kind of introduction to maths came from actually studying those.
I think the interest came from the way gurus and the other scriptures, Vedas in Hindu and Ramayana and Mahabharata. They've got a very specific way of numbering the text over there, so you can't miss any numbers. It just, everything follows one from another. That's how the interest got built in numbers, basically.
And so, and you carried that interest a lot further than just, because, I mean, I couldn't wait to actually stop maths. I mean, I used to think to myself, algebra, what's the point of this? Really? And to be fair, I've never used algebra or trigonometry ever, calculating the angle of that car, whether it's going to hit me or not. But, but you took it further. You actually did your BSc and then a master's in maths in India. So, you definitely carried the number nerd thing all the way there. So, did you ever, when you were doing that, think, I can make a living out of this, or was it just a sort of passionate thing at the time?
I think it actually started as a passion, because I never thought I was going to make a living out of numbers. But then the next step for me after schooling to get into the maths is BSc. And the BSc Honours is the only degree which Delhi University actually provides over there.
Okay.
And then the next step was, obvious step was an MSc after just getting BSc.
Yeah.
And family-wise, you were okay, and I was just doing some part-time jobs to make a living and get into the maths numbers. But then finally, when I decided to do the PhD, that's how I started getting serious to, can I make my living out of the numbers or not?
Yeah.
That's where the numbers and the living and the earning,
well, at least the good thing with a part-time job is, and doing numbers, was at least nobody could shortchange you on your pay packet. You knew what you were going to get. You could tell them, by the way, I work this many hours, no 0 hours contract for me, guys. I want my money. So you kind of did your formative schooling in India, but then you came to the UK to do your PhD, which I'm going to tell you I was going to say it's in maths, but it's actually in statistical modelling and analysis, which is all maths related, by the way. So, and you came to Loughborough to do that. So what was it about coming to the UK that sort of, why did you come to the UK?
To be honest, it was quite a luck thing because getting into a PhD, fully funded PhD, was quite a challenge for me,
Sure.
for a student from a middle class family.
Okay.
So I actually submitted more than 100 proposals across the globe, including universities in Canada and
Wow.
US.
Okay.
And there were only 2 universities who accepted a
Okay.
fully funded studentship, paying all my expenses, all the fees, all the family expenses, all the visa expenses,
Right.
and the air tickets. It was a quite healthy package of
Yeah.
120 grand across 3 years period for the whole family. So there were only 2 universities who accepted my proposal. One was Loughborough, other was Liverpool.
Okay.
So I came to Liverpool in 2007, but for some reason I didn't.
There's Scousers
It's
turning off. There's Scousers turning the telly off, saying, "This guy, you've just dissed Liverpool. You've got to be careful." Okay, maybe you guys didn't have a decent enough football team for him. Is there a football team in Loughborough? I don't know. But anyway, so you opted for Loughborough, which isn't a bad place actually, in fairness, and so on. So and you did your PhD there.
PhD.
Now, having got your PhD, you then obviously looked at applying that and moving to a career, and you went to digital marketing. Now, for the benefit of our viewers out there, we're thinking, digital what? I've heard of digital, I've heard of marketing. What are the two? So, what is digital marketing?
Digital marketing is basically going out and telling about your business and information. Digital viewers out there, today's generation is actually digital generation. So all the
Okay.
Google, the MSN, Microsoft, Yahoo, and all those search engines provide you a good package to
Okay.
actually go out and get your stuff out there in front of the audiences. I mean, in
Okay.
terms of the marketing side, you got various ways of doing marketing online, whether it's going to be paid adverts, whether it's going to be social media,
Okay.
whether it's going to be email marketing, whether
Okay.
it's going to be other random stuffs
So, so,
going on.
so your role, because you're actually in the analytic side of it. So just, I mean, again, this is my simple interpretation of this, and I hope it, maybe the viewers might see it. So, if a company, and I'm going to pick Mercedes because I believe you might have worked with them in the past. So, if Mercedes has spent lots of money actually pushing out adverts there, whether it's through TV, through social media, about their latest car, I guess one of the things they want to know back is, how effective was this stuff? We
Yeah.
spent millions on this. Is it effective? Did people go out and buy? And if they bought, which adverts or where do we place our stuff work? And your analytics pretty much did a lot of that,
This
taking that
is
data.
yeah, this is what my team actually doing for Mercedes.
Okay.
So there's a specific way of doing it because you have to tag quite a lot. Every single web page, every single campaign, the banner ads going up,
Right.
every single message going out.
So it's
There's
just
been
capturing everything.
uniquely tagged, and then unique information is coming into the
Yeah.
data centers, and then we do some number games and some magic sprinkling.
I
And then
believe it. When this guy said the number games, that's just his part-time stuff. I bet he sits at home at night going, yeah. And he goes to work and actually goes to sleep. But there you go. So that was it. So you actually analyse that and you go back to them and say, look, this was effective, and they know where in the future to spend. So that's kind of, we talk about data these days. I mean, I too work in the IT industry. I'm not a numbers nerd. I'm actually a sales nerd. So I actually sell the stuff to these guys, software-wise. But I think it's recent quotes have been said that data is actually worth more than gold, in that if you've got good strong data, people's information about their buying habits, their lifestyle habits, etc., you can sell that around the world, and it's actually worth more than gold, probably more than oil these days.
Yeah, I think the reason being every single action or event or moment is actually creating the data. So, for example, cameras are going recording, the data is being generated.
Yeah.
We are speaking, the data is being generated. The
Yeah.
lights are on, data is being generated. So, if you want to take information from how much electricity is being used,
Yeah.
how much was the picture of a talk or session, camera, electricity, lights, air, water, everything is being data linked. Before, I mean, let's say, prior to a few years, this was not the mentality. The optimization was not in the picture.
Yeah.
Now we want to optimize every single moment of our life, and to make it to make it look like it optimal, we need
Yeah.
data in it, and then using the data, you can come to the next
So
step.
the idea of trying to create a better world by
Better world.
taking this in a way, we can probably even apply that to ourselves. About if we analyse. I mean, I wear a Fitbit, and it's a simple thing. Hopefully, try to make me a better person, knowing how much I do in terms of physical exercise, knowing how much I eat, how much I sleep, and all those things. So data is cool if it's analysed, though. If it's just there and nobody does anything with it, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
You mentioned Mercedes there. I mean, over the years, you obviously worked with a number of companies and projects. So can you just mention a few of those that you might have worked with?
When I was working with, I only work with the digital agencies out
Yep.
in London. So
Okay.
agencies do work with quite a lot of big companies. We work with Kellogg's, we work with Honda, we work with
Okay.
BMW, we work with Mercedes, all Saints fashion retailer, and many more. Microsoft, Google,
Okay.
including all those big
Okay.
giants.
And you're currently head of data analytics at iProspect.
iProspect.
So
Yeah.
a little bit about iProspect. What do iProspect do?
iProspect is one of the arms of Denso Aegis network. They
Okay.
are the biggest spenders with Google.
Okay.
So, in terms of spending, meaning in terms of digital spend of the advertisement. So, Google have got a very good business model. They do all Google AdWords online,
Yeah.
and that's how they make the business. So, they got more than 50 tools, but only few of them are paid. Rest of them are all free. So, they hook you up. They get money from the
Yeah.
paid tools, and they give you a lot of free stuff out there.
Okay, that's pretty good. Now, it sounds like things are really full on for you. You're kind of sitting there at home at night doing your work and sleeping in the daytime. I just made that up. But you're doing all this number crunching and analytics and all this sort of stuff. But then there's another side to you, which is you are heavily, and I mean heavily, involved with this movie Motherhood, the story of Mata Sabgorji. Now, just for the benefit, before we go into talk about the movie, for the benefit of the viewers out there, can you please elaborate a little bit about who Mata Sabgorji was and their background?
Yeah. Mata Sahib Kaurji basically are the mother of Khalsa. They're the third wife of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj and the 10th Guru of Sikhs. And the way they came up is basically it was a love of a devotee towards a guru, towards a teacher. That's how this relationship all started. And when they came to Guruji, they started living with them and serving them forever. That's
Right.
how this all started. So they were official. So when I'm not sure if people on the camera or screen knows that, but when Sikhs got baptized,
Yep.
they got some kind of instructions from Panj Pyare, the
Yep.
people, and
Yep.
they usually say that from today onwards, your spiritual father is Guru Gobind Singh Ji, and your spiritual mother is Mata Sahib Kaur,
Okay.
and that's how it all starts. The journey of Mata Sahib Kaur starts in someone's personal life itself.
Okay. And so why do you feel it's important that her story is told and and I'm a practicing Sikh. Some might say I don't practice hard enough, but there you go. But I think for a lot of Sikhs out there, we focused on the gurus, rightly so. We've obviously focused on the Sabjade, and sometimes, very few Sikhs out there, especially younger Sikhs, know about Mata Sahib Kaurji. Would you say that's been one of the drivers to actually get this off the
I
ground?
think there are a few reasons. One of the reasons basically the Prachar point itself. So we know a lot about gurus, and that's we should be knowing about them. I think gurus brought few important personalities within the history to actually support them and actually to get out there within that kind of turmoil area times. And one of the main characters after our gurus is our spiritual mother. So if you look down in the ladder, so who else we gonna look at after Guru Gobind Singh Ji is Mata Sahib Kaur. Let's say after Sahibzade or after Panj Pyare, who is the next one to look at is the spiritual mother, because this was a title given to Mataji by Guru Gobind Singh Ji themselves. It was not like given by Sangat, or it was not like self-styled title. Guru Gobind Singh Ji themselves made the mother of Khalsa. And I think the other point is sometimes you got timely figures. So for example, someone have done something for the time period and that's done, it's over. With mother of Khalsa or father of Khalsa, they are untimely, so they're infinite.
Right.
When we say mother of Khalsa, that means every single, let's say, Sikh or every single Gurdwara Sahib, every single temple, every single Nishan Sahib, every single Sarovar, all the langars, they actually fall into the choli of Mata Sahib Kaur because they are the mother. So they actually own in some way, shape,
Yeah.
form.
Thank you for that, Kanli. But the other thing is, and I know here we're seeing it in the UK, it is a worldwide movement, but we're seeing a lot of it in the UK because this year, 2018, actually marks the 100 years of the suffrage movement. This is basically women, some women, I have to say, getting the vote and being recognised as being equal to their male peers. I think there's quite a lot of women out there who are probably way above their male peers, and I think there's quite a few males sitting in the House of Commons these days who are actually kind of a lot lower than that. But don't get me on a soapbox. But gender equality is quite important, and obviously the story of Mata Sabgord is something that should be told. And so maybe the timing of this is really opportune that you're making this movie now, because we need more people to understand that the Khalsa Panth, the Sikh religion, in fact probably more religions,
Yep.
relied not just on kind of men but also on some very inspirational women there as well.
Yeah, that's true. I think another angle which why we actually selected this character as a Mata Sahib Ko Educational Trust is behind this movie, which is Leicester-based trust, is because the women empowerment in India. I mean, we see, and in even abroad, we see a lot of domestic violence,
Yeah.
starting from sometimes more many times with men, and to actually give women a kind of a role model for them, and I mean worldwide role model, to let them know what's contribution, how they can, because Mata Sahib Koji actually drifted or directed Sikh Fund for 40 years after Guru Gobind Singh Ji left the world. So
Right.
that's how, I mean, you got so many stories linked to Mataji which can actually be applied to our own general day-to-day lives. So
Right.
Baba Banda Singh Bahadur, or I mean Bahadur Shah, Emperor of India, all those personalities do touch Mata Sahib Koji's life, and the way beautifully they drifted all the times when all the Shahidiyan took place, and not just for the Sikh people, but even for the Hindus, even for the Muslim
Yeah.
people, because there were not many kind of saintly souls, or saintly figures in those days.
Yeah.
And with the Western influence, because I'm sure you must be aware, 1700 AD was the year when East India Company got set up in India.
Yep.
So there was the arrival of English into India. So there was another thing on the top of the head for Mataji and other people,
Yeah.
Marathas like Shivaji Rao, Balaji Rao. They were aware that, okay, something else is coming. So Mughals are one thing,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
then there's something
Yeah, you've
else
got
is
a
coming.
double whammy of evil that's landed on your doorstep. So yeah, so it's not particularly good. And it's interesting, you know, you mention, you know, we have to talk about India, even though we're sitting here in the UK today, because you know, whilst I think massive strides have been made towards gender equality in the UK, you know, it still saddens me, depresses me as to what happens in India. I don't have a stronger connection to India as maybe you might, but you know, just the way that patriarchal society there, particularly you know the current government seems to kind of ignore things like violence against women, attitudes towards women. You know, when people can actually, politicians can stand up and defend rapists. You know, and come out with things like "boys will be boys." You know,
Yeah.
that's actually pretty sad, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I think it's just a norm now.
Yeah,
It's become such a normal thing with these people that don't even realize there's something happening.
yeah,
So if they actually help someone or in some situation, that will become abnormal for them.
yeah,
That's how the society have
yeah,
actually started accepting all
yeah,
these things. And I think these kind of initiatives, worldwide initiatives, will
yeah.
definitely gonna help the, let's say, underdeveloping women and women living in those
Yeah.
countries out there.
Well, hopefully, you know, abnormality will be pervasive in India because you know there's a younger generation coming up, and you know I'm encouraged when I see some of the marches, you know, against the
Yep.
violence towards women. You know, there's a lot of younger men, younger lads that are taking part in those and actually saying, look, you know, we don't want a part of what these dinosaurs, you
Yeah.
know, want, which is the subjugation of women. They actually want them
Yeah.
to be able to, you know, work, live, and contribute to society just as men should. There
Just
should be
mention.
nothing holding them back. So I think you know, well done to them. Hope, you know, sadly we can't put all this stuff right, but you know, all we can do is try. So just coming back to the film, I know we're darting around a little bit here, but you know, your role in the movie is that you're actually kind of writing. You're also doing the screenplay. You're directing. You're making the jar as well.
Yes.
Master of all talents, yeah.
I think it's
Make mine with just one sweetener, please. And has this been a passion project of yours then?
it's a passion, it's a, I think, direction, and it's a spiritually linked with my own life.
Okay,
So a few years ago, something happened and I got connected with Mata Sahib Kaji. I was not aware of them, to be honest,
okay.
before, but then it's just happened, and
Was that
then
here or in
that's
India?
in UK itself.
In the UK itself,
Yeah.
okay.
So
And it's not an epiphany. It's not a moment that you can put your finger on, or was it just over a period of time or something? Well,
I
how?
think I was getting some kind of, let's say, messages, and just kind of some idea, some direction that
Okay,
I have to do something. I need to connect with Mataji. I need to get out there and get to know more about Mataji. I was not aware that we're gonna make the movie afterwards, but that
okay.
was just kind of a push, a natural push that go and learn more
It's
about
something
Mata
that's come
Sai
from
Koji
within, so
within.
it's kind of
Yeah,
within the heart. I mean,
it was all of a sudden that I just started getting more interested in Mata Sahib Koji
that's
as
interesting.
a character. Started reading books and stuff, the Katha and all those other women out there,
Yeah,
some Mother Teresa, likes of them, what they did, how they get impacted, if they get impacted any of these role models from the
right.
history. So I read about Rani Jhansi, who did a
Okay,
very great job in Indian history during the English
okay.
time over
Occupation.
there,
Okay.
occupation. So that it's all started, I think, 2 years ago, and then finally, end of last year, the push was so strong that we decided to actually
We've got to
go
make a
out to the
movie.
masses and make a movie
That's
to reach out
brilliant.
to the audiences in a way they want to consume the content.
Yeah.
And what best is more than 3D content being built for the
Yeah.
coming generations.
So
And I think the idea is not about us doing something for the just for the Sikhs.
Yeah.
The idea is to actually just spread the knowledge across the globe, because we need women role models for every aspect of the society anyways.
Yeah.
We don't have many women role models anyways.
Yeah. Well, I think there's two things. I think one is the we always need to talk about the truth and history and people that have actually made an impact. And I think nobody, regardless of gender, background, age, whatever, should be forgotten if they made a massive contribution. And that's the first thing. And secondly, I think the gender thing is very important because people will turn around sometimes. I mean, I often get asked the question, what do Sikhs think about gender equality? Because people sometimes will come to a Gurdwara Sahib and they'll see the men sitting on one side and the women sitting on one side, and they will actually confuse that for, is it some form of kind of like, subjugation or snobbery? You're not allowed to mix. And I'm like, look, guys, the way I see this as is, when you're sitting here and you're actually divided by gender based on prayer, is so that you can focus purely. You're not going to chat with your wife or your partner or whatever. You're going to focus purely on the Gurbani and the program, then people will obviously, be able to sort of really understand what's going on. But at the same time, gender equality has been a big driver in Sikhi. Sadly, and I keep saying this, I think as it permeates down to a community level, it tends to break down.
It is.
And that gummy or that fault isn't with the religion, it's with us as individuals at a community level, in that we start to do things like, we'll have a Gurdwara management committee and it will just be a load of men, all tend to be about sort of 65 plus, and that's it. We'll ignore the fact that there's, younger people or women or whatever there is. So, we need to sort of, that's our fault, not the fault of the religion. Just going back to the motherhood movie, you mentioned 3D because as a movie, and it's animated because obviously, as Sikhs, we're not allowed to portray our founding fathers and Mataji as a human form, so it's an animated form. What are the complexities of making a animated 3D film, and were you aware of these when you started?
There are a lot. First, because I'm not from movie industry anyway,
Okay.
so I'm still going along. But I think the main challenge is to actually visualize and conceptualize everything, because live action movies are very different. You got sets, you got weather, you got sun, and you got action done.
Right.
But over here, animation is all visualization and all the kind of imagination behind the scenes. So, for example, if you want to design Anandpur Sahib set, then we just have to imagine what will be the kind of era, or the color scheme will be there, what kind of props could be going to be there. So lots of imagination and creativity.
But you're in good hands because you're working with iReality's studio, which is the studio that the Jad Sabs are there.
And they're amazing.
They're amazing. I mean, I've seen the film. I think a lot of people have seen that film, and as an animated feature, it very much stands up. Because again, they're using obviously the latest technology around sort of animation to do that.
And they were the first one who actually gave such a hit animated movie in Indian history itself.
Right.
So we are very proud to actually they decided to work with us.
Work with you.
But again, the team is very talented. And it's not just they're using the same technology, actually they're moving with the technology, and they're using a bit more advanced technology this time with motherhood movie, because Charles Sabzade actually built, the production started in 2011, so completed 2014.
Wow.
So we are now 7 years ahead. So lots of things change.
And is the movie being made? I mean, iReality's, I believe, are in India. Are they?
They're Mumbai-based.
They're Mumbai-based
animation studio.
So that part of it is being done there. Are there parts of the movie being made in the UK, US? Is it purely being made?
No, we're working with some music people in UK. We actually have working with DJ Frenzy from UK.
Okay.
We got some of the musicians from France also. So the music part is actually scattered across the globe type of thing. But the production of the movie animation is mainly purely Mumbai-based, India-based.
And then the writing, storyboarding and stuff, the screenplay, that you're doing that?
It's basically a team of researchers within the Mata Sahib Education Trust who had worked in last 2 years or so to come up with the history of Mataji, but then we can't show 70 years of history in just 90, 100 minutes.
No.
So this team is working very closely with SGPC, making sure that we are not doing anything which we should not be doing. So
Okay.
SGPCs are helping us quite a lot. They're reviewing scenes
Okay.
by scenes, giving us some feedback. So actively working on the
Okay.
project.
And with respect to the language in the film, is it actually going to be in Punjabi, or is it going to be in English, or is it going to be multi-language versions?
Up until now, we decided to do in 5 languages.
Oh, okay.
So English, Punjabi, Hindi, mainly for India,
Yeah.
then Spanish and German for European countries out there.
That's interesting. You missed out French, but
I think it's just a budgetary
a
thing that we
thing at
have
the
to
moment.
decide 5 languages and looking at the
Yeah, you seem to have covered
diverse.
the most of the bases there. I'm just glad you got an English version of it, because I think that really would
Yeah,
work so well here,
yeah,
the States, and lots of. I mean, again, lots of people to speak English.
definitely.
It's one of those
Even
things.
in India, people do. I mean, some
Yeah,
youngsters do prefer actually English language.
yeah. And now, when are you hoping for a general release date for the movie?
As of now, we're thinking April 2019.
Okay,
We're still working with distributors out there because we don't want to clash with other animated movies
okay,
like say Disney or Pixar or any other big name fame movie like
okay.
Salman Khan or those
Yeah,
people.
Finding
Because then
Nemo 15. Yeah, you just don't want to go head to head with those guys. So
yes,
Toy Story 38. No, it's just not worth doing that. Yeah, exactly.
so
Yeah,
yeah.
unless you're not going to have Buzz Lightyear in your film, so that's fine. Okay. So and if you're looking at sort of working backwards, if your April 2019 is your release date, as we sit here around sort of the middle of 2018, where are you at? What stage are you at now in production?
This week is the last week of our pre-production, so we've already got all the storyboards. We made more than
Okay.
2,000 storyboards. So we're moving to the animatic stage where they're going to be making the models with the references out there, animation team. So the process basically you all do all the storyboards first, and then you put some colors and some feel and look into them,
Okay.
make them the models, and then animate them, and then bring all the voices, the dialogues, and then stitch them all together, render them, and the product is ready.
Okay.
So we are almost, I would say, 25 to 30%
Oh, okay.
completion stage.
Done. Okay, so it's fair way down the path already, which is pretty good.
Yes, so project's been started November last year.
Okay.
But we were doing a lot of research at the same time. We were talking with the animation studios. Animation studio helped a lot. There's a team of 70 people out there
Right.
who were focused mainly working on this project itself.
Brilliant.
So quite a heavy paid team like animation studio. But then you got a team of volunteers also helping them, which is very good.
And would you be looking, 2019 April to do would there be a global release, at the same time, or would you look to release it in different countries at different times?
As of today, we are looking at the global one-time worldwide release
Okay.
across the globe, and we have submitted at least 490 plus screens across the globe.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll get them and we'll show this movie to everyone out there.
Brilliant. Well, make sure I get that ticket then, please. Thank you.
Definitely.
We all love a premiere. We all love a premiere. Come on.
Discounted.
It is. I'll pay full price, honestly. I just want to be there, that's all. That's great. Now, we're surrounded by some amazing artwork, and for those of you who've been not wanting to look at my face, which I can understand, but probably want to look behind me at the artwork here, there is some amazing artwork that I believe has been done in collaboration with the movie, which, I'd be grateful if we could have a discussion of some of that. I don't want us to turn around and ignore the cameras, but I think, if we, the cameras are going to pan on some of this, but the artwork is really all around Mata Sahib Gorji, and it's been done by artists from literally all over the world.
All over the world.
Yeah.
Basically, the idea was to actually do something unique, and the unique thing, because it's an animated movie, so we just gone to ArtSeek. It's a young organization who are actually promoting young artists, whether they are Sikh or no, but it's just basically promoting Sikh art by young artists. So we talked to them, and they came forward and they said, let's do the exhibition around our June tour, which we're doing in UK to support motherhood. So all the artists have done this arts pieces free of charge, and they're gonna stay with the motherhood team until the release of the movie. And there's some very great artists from the Paris, from the Germany, from Italy. We got artists from Canada who've done an art piece. I think in total we did 12 art pieces, and we're getting good response out there. So it's basically for the first time a physical thing is being attached to, let's say, a software type of thing. So animated movies being linked with the physical artwork.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, I had the chance to look at some of the artworks in particular, and again, they're all really, really quite brilliant. But the one that stands out for me is by Khan Griffiths, who
Yes,
is
Count Griffiths.
a Welsh artist
Yeah.
and someone who apparently knew nothing about Sikhi, but was told a little bit about it and went and created a piece which I think is embellished with gold leaf
Yep.
and is very ornate. And I think it's valued around £8,000 and so
Pounds.
on. So they're going to search me as I leave here. But it is quite remarkable. I think there's artworks from artists in Russia. And as you said, in France and all over the world, people have contributed to this. Now, you mentioned this has actually been on display and is going around
Going
doing.
on the June. Yeah.
So where has it been, and where are you going to with
We
this?
have been to many Gurdwara Sahibs and local places in London
In
and
London.
Midlands.
Okay.
We will be going to up north, Manchester, Glasgow, Bradford, Leeds, and so on.
Okay.
This week we are in Midlands,
Okay.
primarily in Midlands. So we're
So
covering all of the UK to just go through the
So it's
Gurdwaras.
primarily through Gurdwara Sahib. So
Yeah.
the message out there to anyone watching this is, by the time we go out, is you may see this. If you've missed it, it'll be maybe at Gurdwara Sahibs near you. But again, I'm sure when you come to do the movie premiere, you're probably going to feature some of this artwork
Definitely.
around the premieres as
Definitely.
well, which will be quite something.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. So let me, it's amazing that what you're doing with the movie. I guess and your career, but I guess a question I've got to ask you, because you've got multifaceted career, you've got the kind of analytics guy, you've got the movie guy. Outside of your numerous roles, if there was a magical sprinkling of you could have any job in the world, what would you like to have done?
I think I will be doing some sort of love sharing job where I just go
Okay.
to people and just spread the love around
Okay.
for the humanity, for the
Okay.
nature.
Okay.
I think there's lots of hatred out there. People just need a reason to hate with other person, whether it's a family or whether it's a friends. But we just need to get away from this hatred approach. I think there's so much to love out there. Whether it's gonna be even in Guru Granth Sahib Ji, it says
Yeah.
that you should not be doing hate with the sand because once upon a time sand is actually under the feet, but when you leave the world, it's
Yeah.
actually on the top of you.
Yeah.
So
That's well, it's true, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, exactly. Yeah. No, it's quite something. I mean, I think sadly we are. The world is very polarized at the moment into this business about nationalism. It's my country. If you look like a foreign person, then I shouldn't like you, or you're over here for a reason, as opposed to a genuine reason, which is to help contribute and so on. So I think your point there is quite something. Which if we had more understanding, tolerance, compassion, all of the things which I suppose are in our Gurbani.
yeah.
Sadly, not all of us practice them.
I think it's a humanity.
It,
They are
it,
the
it,
humanity principles.
yeah.
We should not be hating anyone.
Yeah.
Why we should be?
Yeah. Well,
Anyways.
it's interesting you say that. I mean, I know you've obviously been on a very spiritual journey. I've been on a kind of I started a health journey, which turned into a spiritual journey because it allowed me to in order to get fitter, I've started doing challenges for charity, and whether it's climbing a mountain, running a marathon, to help people who can't do that. And I feel so much better in myself
Yeah.
than I ever did before. I really do. I can't explain it. It's that thing about giving is so much better than receiving.
Yeah, it is. I think it's just because you're doing something for someone without anything in return.
Yeah.
It's just kind of selflessness, and which is again a trait of love.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let me ask you, what's the best advice you've ever received?
The best advice I received was from my PhD supervisor from
Okay.
Loughborough University. So when the journey started, I submitted a proposal to actually forecast electricity market in India. We got
Okay.
loads of electricity cuts in India. So my
Yeah, no kidding, no kidding. Yeah,
we got
your power goes off 3 days later. You're sort of wandering around the dark in India. Yeah, maybe that's just Ludhiana for you. But yeah.
no, it's all over India except Mumbai.
Except Modi's house. But no, joking. Prime Minister. We'll edit this bit. Go on.
So that was the idea, but when I landed here and the supervisor said, Karandeep, it's a very good proposal, but I think in UK we don't have this problem.
Yeah.
So I don't think so that you can get any data from anywhere across UK. So you have to go back to India and collect the data, and then do you think that your electricity market out there will actually accept your model? I mean, looking at the economy of the India, and then he suggested that why no, you do something else, and he gave me 3 days, and he said, Ki, just think about 3 days and you will find the answer. And within those 3 days, I think 6 hours on the traffic, A6 from Loughborough to Leicester.
Right.
And that's how the idea came in. Let's work something on the traffic. So what I did is
Okay.
basically statistical modeling on the road traffic.
You really are a numbers nerd. Please, I'm not getting into a car with this man. I'm not getting into a car with this man. Honestly, we'll be sitting there talking about statistical modelling. How many red cars are you saying? No, 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 no. Stop, stop, stop. So, no, seriously, that's great. So I'm going to ask you the question, and please do not say I count. What do you do to switch off and relax? Don't say Sudoku. I'm leaving.
Not really. Basically, you just lay down and think about the nature.
Okay, okay.
Just think about the mountains. Just think about the water flowing from the springs. Just think about nature.
So do you meditate?
I do meditate.
You do
Yes, I do
meditate.
meditate.
Yeah, meditation, Nitnim, all of those
Yeah,
things.
all those things. But I
Yeah.
think the downtime is just me connecting back to the nature.
Okay.
And I think I feel very relaxed when I think I'm actually flying in the air, or I'm actually standing on the top of the cliff and just experiencing the cold.
Yeah. Please don't move. Take that one step further off the cliff. Please don't.
I'm not gonna do it.
Step back from the cliff. Back from the cliff. No. Well, actually, it's interesting you say that. I mean, we all experience this in different ways. I mean, for me, running is actually something that takes me out of myself. I know there's an element of pain with it when you start, but once you get over that pain barrier and you start running, the body switches off and the mind takes over. And I find I start to think about things that I never would do if I was sitting at home. I have ideas. And things that I probably, where did that come from? Because your mind seems to clear and so on. So, I'll try to avoid cliffs if you can try do a bit of running. How's that?
Yes.
That's great.
I think I'm not a running person. I'm not a sports person anyway.
Everybody's got.
Sensibly.
Listen, if a guy like me who's at 25.5 stone and couldn't run kind of like 5 yards can try to do a marathon, trust me, anyone can do this. Anyone can do this.
I'll take an advice.
Take some advice. Just don't try running those chappal. Honestly, you will get some serious blisters. Yeah, unless they're made.
I'll borrow your shoes.
Yeah, I'll lend you some. So, Gundeep, in future years and generations, I mean, you're doing some amazing work here and so on. How would you like people to think of you? Future generations. What would you like them to say about Gundeep?
I think the generation need to understand there is lots of optimism out there. There's lots of positivity out there. We usually tend to get negative with any small reason out there. I think generation need to understand whatever is happening for the reason. There is nothing happen without a reason.
Yeah.
There's always a learning behind any action. But I think we need to be more responsive than reactive. This is where the problem is. When we become reactive to something, that's where we don't give time to mind to think about. When we become responsive, we take a pause, we think about it, and you definitely can find a positivity, angle of optimism behind the same kind of action which takes place.
See, that's the response you expect from somebody who's an analyst. Yeah,
Sorry.
analytical. Don't just rush to judgment. Sit there, analyse it. How many red cards have gone by? No. And then work it out the answer. So no, but actually, doing things with a bit of calmness about it, I totally agree. Sort of, not reacting and being kind of, angry about things is quite something. So just, with time's moving on, so I wanted to sort of get a little personal, ask you a little bit more about your kind of the human side of your good self. Can you, are you into music? And if so, what sort of music do you enjoy?
I'm more into Western classical music.
Okay.
So all those strings instruments like Dilruba, Taus, Sarangi to play around.
Okay.
But then again, coupled with the Western music.
Okay.
And this is probably the reason we are doing the motherhood also, bringing all the Western side and classical side together. And so yeah, hopefully.
So is it mainly instrumental stuff, or do you like vocal stuff as well? And if so, I mean, do you like a rock? Do you go to rock gigs and so on? Do you rock out?
Not really.
No, that's a shame.
I'm more like a cool, calm, instrumental piano, more like a.
Yeah, so you're not into death. You're not into death metal and stuff. Never mind. I could always take you to a Metallica gig at some point.
I can try for once.
You can enjoy it. Trust me. You can get you running, get you listening to heavy metal. Yeah.
And we can make them do the Punjabi bhangra also.
Oh, I'm not so sure about that one. So, and what about? I mean, you obviously, because you're into analytics and all the rest of it, you're obviously engaged with technology and so on. So, what's the app on your phone you couldn't live without?
These days is GoFundMe.
GoFundMe. Okay. So GoFundMe, is this your way of getting out to people to
get the funding for
get the funding for your thing, and that's an app now on your phone.
It's an app, yeah.
I haven't got that. I'm going to have to get that one, actually. I'm going to have to do that for my charity runs. Go fund me. Go sponsor me. I'm just giving at the moment. And what about things like, I mean, you're involved with the movies, so have you, growing up as a child, were you into movies, and is that something
Yes,
what sort of movies do you like?
in the childhood, I was a very romantic movie lover person. So I
Okay,
think I remember I saw DDLJ, Dilwale Dulhania Le
so
Jayenge,
these are
more than 100
you're
times.
very Bollywood.
Bollywood type.
You saw it 100
Indeed,
times
100 times in the theater.
in the theatre.
In the
Did you just,
theater.
but typical India, did you just buy the one ticket and sit in there until, yeah, for
No,
100
not
days?
really, 100 different times. There was a time when they made actually the movie the tax free, and there was a ticket cost only 10 rupees or 12 rupees. So many of me like went to the theaters to watch the movie
So,
again and again.
I mean, it's not a thing that I mean. By the way, you guys can watch Motherhood 100 times. So, but
It's just an inspiration for the viewers out
it
there.
is. It is.
Let's compete.
That's the challenge. See if you can watch it 101 times and beat this guy. Yeah, that's it. But so outside of the Bollywood genre and watching one movie 100 times, which I think I would kill myself. But anyway, even a great movie, even Citizen Kane couldn't do 100 times. But what are the genres of movie do you like? Are you into just Bollywood, or do you like Hollywood films at all?
Just primarily was into Bollywood,
Okay,
but nothing more than that.
nothing more than that. So you're not a big action movie star.
Not really. Not
You
really.
don't.
I think action put me off sometimes
Is
because it's
it?
just so much quality and stuff. It's for entertainment, but I
Yeah.
think it doesn't go with the vibrations of
Because I
it.
took you for a kind of die-hard kind of guy. I thought you could die hard. Die hard. No,
And
no,
if it's needed for me to do for something, then it's fine. But then it's in virtual world, I think you
Yeah.
need more kind of just
Yeah, Die
calm.
Hard with some really wicked jubbler. That would be the style. So no,
Yes.
okay. And do you get a chance much to watch television at all? Do you watch TV or not?
Nowadays, I'm watching a lot of small trailers and like technology-related stuff
Oh,
to
okay.
get
The,
something out in the motherhood involvement.
okay.
So that's the kind of
So do you
thing.
watch things like TED Talks and stuff like that?
Yes, kind of those
Those
things.
those sort of
Mainly,
things.
primarily from the animated world out there.
Okay.
So because just to educate myself
On
in
the
the animation
on the
side of
technology and
things,
stuff.
yes.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
interesting. And how about books? Do you get a chance to read much?
Yes, I've been reading books from Disney. I was reading actually books from Disney's vice president, and there was quite a bit learning out there. If you want me to share it.
I don't read Mickey Mouse books. Sorry, there was a joke in there somewhere. No. So pretty much. So when you say Disney, is that about Disney as an organisation,
Disney
or
as an organization,
yeah?
as
Well, it was
within the
a
fascinating animation,
fascinating story again about Walt Disney, the man.
the man.
He was actually. Well, depending on what you read, he wasn't supposed to be such a nice guy, but he obviously created quite an amazing sort of movie empire there with his studios. And what about things like when it comes to eating and food and stuff, which obviously we all do, but do you cook much yourself or not, or do you rely on other people to sort of?
I don't cook much, to be honest. Got a very beautiful wife, and she cooks a beautiful food for me.
Okay.
But then, yes, it's quite a combination. So I do all the hard work, and she do all the kitchen work.
Which is hard work. Come on, it's a hard work, because honestly, if you don't say it's hard work, guess what? When you get home, you're going to have nothing. Yeah. Here's a glass of pani for you.
Pani
That's
for
it.
you.
That's it. Yeah. So that's it. Obviously, within your business life, your movies and stuff, you've travelled obviously India, UK, and maybe some other countries and stuff. I mean, is there a particular place in the world that you would say is your favourite place that you've been to?
I've been to Manali a few times.
Okay.
And Manali is Himachal Pradesh.
So just for our viewers, so this is actually in
India.
In India.
In India.
Is it a mountainous region?
This is a mountainous region in Himachal Pradesh, more
Okay.
around towards the lower end of the Himalayas.
Okay.
And I found quite interesting because you can literally get connected quite quickly like this. It's a peaceful surrounding areas. There are the mountain areas, but I think in Manali have got a different type of peace in there.
Yeah.
And it's just because of the people out there, the mountainous ranges people are they're very kind of innocent, and they don't kind of mingle around with you. They just
They're less stressed,
stay
aren't they?
there. They're less stressed.
yeah.
They're natural. They still don't know. So, for example, I was with one of the dhaba people over there,
Okay.
and they still don't know about the rupees 2000 notes or 500 notes. They still
still
work with the coins and stuff. Barter system.
So you
still
just paid
goes
them
there.
with all the currency that you no longer use. Here, have this 500 note.
And they said, oh, don't leave it. They're still living in old world barter
Yeah.
system and stuff. It's quite natural up there.
Yeah, there is. I mean, I know I spent time in Shimla when I was in India, and moving away from Punjab just for a week or so to Shimla was quite amazing. It was like,
Amazing.
wow, this is a different world. This is the kind of India bit I like, which you say it's very peaceful, very nice, and
It's like
the air's breathable, which is pretty good.
European India. No?
It is, it is. I mean, there's some things in there, but I think a lot of it's to do with things like the pollution at the moment, which
Pollution.
I know in Delhi is probably one of the most polluted cities in the world, full
It is
stop.
indeed.
And Punjab's no better. So I think anywhere you can get a decent lungful of fresh air, it's got to be a good thing. So, Gundeep, we're kind of coming towards the end, which you're probably thinking, thank God for that, and you're probably doing a dance now for that. I just wanted to talk about, I've got a little thing here called dinner party, which is, if you had the opportunity to invite 3 guests, living or dead, to come, break bread with you, have a meal that your lovely wife has cooked that you're only going to eat, and then, who would they be and why would you invite them?
The 3 categories that I would like to get involved is first is politics, second is academics,
Right.
and third is basically just a normal common man.
Right.
So the politics gonna be Dr. Manmohan Singh, ex-Prime Minister of
Ex-Prime Minister
India,
of India. Okay,
and
interesting. And why Dr. Manmohan Singh?
I think Dr. Manmohan Singh from when he was in the tenure for 10 years, he inspired many people in their life. He bring very big changes in the Indian subcontinent, whether it's going to be economics, whether it's going to be politics, whether it's going to be just related to the common man out there. So
Right.
he proved himself that he is a PM for the common man. And he did a lot of hard work, although he had to face a lot of criticism because he speaks quite slow.
Yeah.
He's a very normal PM. He's not like an extravagant or flamboyant PM
Yeah.
who drives in Bentley and stuff.
Yeah.
But he did what a modern PM should be doing for
Okay.
for the citizens out there.
Okay. And who else? Who would you have from the academic world?
In the academic world, we got someone from the mathematician type of thing. So there was someone called Albert Einstein. He was a
So,
he's
the physicist and
physicist,
mathematician, yeah.
mathematician,
Okay.
and I think the main reason is I just wanted to know because I was struggling to understand how these equations do work when I started doing the PhD. But then later on, I got to know there's a mechanism. You either prove or you either disprove.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see Einstein, just thinking what else he could have done. He would have been here. Because I think he did a very good contribution within the mathematical world out there, and of course physics. But I think if we would have given him 10 more years, he could have solved another few problems which we are still facing today.
Yeah, maybe even Donald Trump. Who knows? And then your third choice is.
And third choice is a common man, maybe yourself.
Oh, you don't get much more common than me, honestly. Though that's a great choice because honestly, I can do common like it's going out of fashion. No, well, I'd appreciate that greatly because obviously I need a feed as well.
I think the reason being you're meeting so many people. You are a common man. You are a voice of common man. Basically, people actually expecting something from this show, and those generation which were thinking the Sikh channel is just for the old or just for the oldies. I don't have anything to take care of it. I have nothing to take it from it. I think you are changing the perception of the youngsters out there, and common man need to think like this. Every common need to think like this because our generation need to connect. There's a very big, and not just from Sikh population, the wider audience out there. This generation is being disconnected, whether they are belong to Hindu community or Muslim, but they're feeling that disconnection. All of them are working very hard. I mean, the old generation is working hard to bring communities together, the generations together. And I think this is what you have done recently with Sikh channel.
Well, thank you very much. I think that's great. It's got me blushing now, actually. Yeah. So, all modesty. So, it's the first time I think anybody's ever said I'd like you to join me for dinner. Most of them are normally sort of never let me near the house. Actually, which brings me to the kind of villain of the piece. If you had to get somebody to do the bundy afterwards, the dishes, who wasn't such a nice person, who would that be? You can actually nominate me again. I don't have a problem because you fed me. I'll do the dishes.
I think I would like to do myself.
You do?
Just out of humbleness.
I know, that's brilliant.
For being kind to you guys.
Yeah.
You took the time and come to dinner with me, so that's a big thing.
Well, I think it's the least you can do for your wife. She's on the cooking, so it's about time you got off and did the dishes. That's great. No, I think that's
teamwork, isn't it?
It is. Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Make sure you do some extra bundy.
Yes.
Yeah, keep them coming. So the other thing, I watched a film last year called Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. It's one of my favourite films because it was a person trying to make the point to someone who was just not getting the point. So I asked my guests this, if you had to deliver a message to someone, anyone who wasn't getting the point, and you could put a billboard outside their house or office, who would that person be and what would it say?
I think instead of just naming one, I would just say in general,
Yeah, yeah, you
just to
can.
not upset anyone. I
No.
think, as I mentioned earlier, there is a need for us to go out there and spread the love for the humanity.
Yeah.
And if I get a chance to actually put a billboard, I will put all the billboards outside of the all PMs of the world out
Yep.
there. So every country's PM have a billboard, and just to give some kind of reassurance, there is a lot of love to be spread around. And if all of them can think at that level, then the world could be another thing to live in.
That's good. Yeah. No, I mean, to be fair, if you had to do that outside of every PM's house, you wouldn't get your film made because you'd be out there doing
After the
billboards
motherhood.
after the motherhood. Yeah, that's it, and so on. You could do one outside Donald Trump's place, which is kind of stop tweeting, please. Break a finger. So anyway, the very last part, we're going to wrap. This is the legendary fishbowl. I've taken some questions out of here because they kept getting the same ones kept coming up. So these are just random questions, Gandhi. I'm going to ask you to pick. Let's go with 3 or 4 of these, and you're going to answer with total honesty and impunity, as I'd imagine.
So what's the best or shootest thing you've bought or spent money on?
Yeah, go on then.
Bit difficult one because I don't want to put off the Android users. I've been on Apple since beginning,
Yeah.
since iPhone first version.
Okay.
And after iPhone 7, I thought, okay, let's move on to something else because just for a change. And
Go
I
on.
moved on to the Android.
Yep.
And within 45 days, I had to move back to the Apple because it didn't work out.
Well, I mean, that's.
It didn't work out.
Well, no, it
it's
is.
not. It's not like Android doesn't have anything to offer me. I think it's just dependability and just the UI of Apple. You're so much into it, you don't want any change.
It is. It is conditioning, and again, that's maybe part of the reason why they are the most successful business in the world right now is because they've developed something. I mean, I am, an Apple junkie. I've got Apple. I've never even, I've never been as bold enough to even consider Android.
That was a bold decision.
Yeah,
Seriously.
that was. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if ISIS caught me and they tortured me, but they took my iPhone away. I'd just tell them anything. That was it. That's all I say. We're taking your iPhone. Oh, yeah, here's the details. Right.
Thank you. So, what is least favorite word and why? Least favorite.
What's your least favorite word and why?
I think I've said this a few times in the session.
Go on.
It's basically hate. So I don't like a word called. I think a word called hate should not be in anyone's dictionary.
Yeah.
It is actually a root cause of many problems. In fact, all the problems.
Yeah. A couple more of these. You can't read them before you pick them out. Go on.
Best book you ever read and why? I actually pointing one of the books I'm reading right now. It's again from Disney's vice president.
Okay.
He's written a book on 10 qualities every leader should have.
Is this Eisner?
No, it's Cockrell, Peter Cockrell.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think it's a unique way of writing because in his book he has given all the real life examples. So he haven't said anything about himself.
Right.
He's not like preachy in his approach. All the real life examples from the family, from the friends, from the pals, and those examples are really nice.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
really
great.
nice.
We're going to do one more of these.
Okie doke.
Actually, being sicky, we should do 5, shouldn't we? But someone being superstitious now. Go on.
Your favorite foreign movie? Again, from the romantic angle, it's Titanic.
Oh,
I
okay.
watched it a few times.
This is from an Indian angle because for many people, Titanic wasn't foreign, but
from
if
Indian
you're watching
angle,
in India, it was foreign.
Yeah,
that's fine.
And if you come to the action side,
Yeah.
Terminator Part 2 was one of the.
That was come on. That was better than
Judgment Day.
It was one of those films, a bit like Aliens, that was actually better than the first. So it's a sequel better than that.
Yes.
That's the only there's basically The Godfather 2, Aliens, and Terminator 2. And if you disagree, I don't care. One last one. We got this. Yeah, I knew there was an action hero in this guy somewhere. Just like robotic people killing each other with machine guns.
Is it a charity or cause you are more passionate about than others?
Yeah.
So Mata Sahibpur Educational Trust,
Brilliant.
of course, being an advisor to the trust.
And is the trust is a registered charity?
It is indeed.
It is. So there you go. So you're passionate about that with good reason. Gandhi, listen, thank you very much for your time today. I'm really, really grateful. I trust that's not been too traumatic.
No.
Don't worry, it gets worse. So all I do is thank you very much. Wish
Thank
you
you.
all the best for the movie.
Thanks a lot for wishes.
And keep counting those cars on the A6. Yeah, don't give
Thank you.
give up on
Thanks
your
for
hobby.
inviting me.
No,
Thank
not
you.
at all. And all that remains for me to say is thank you very much for tuning in and watching Late Night Banter with me, Dale Singh. Remember, you can get all the banter at www.latenightbanter.com. Look forward to seeing you soon. In the meantime, Waheguru Ji Khalsa, Waheguru Ji
Waheguru
Fateh.
Ji ki Fateh.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. And look forward to seeing you next week, where my special guest will be Dr. Pinderjit Kaur Thakur, MBE, Director of the Centre of Sikh and Punjabi Studies at Wolverhampton University. See you then.